Problem 27 is a word problem that says two angles are complementary. The measure of one angle is 15 degrees more than 1/2 of the measure of the other. Find the measure of each angle. Remember, the instructions for this also said solve using a system of equations in two variables, so that tells us how to set it up. I start with two angles are complementary. Well, I'm going to use two variables. I'm going to use x and y, and if they're complementary, that means those two angles add up to 90 degrees. So I start with x plus y equals 90 degrees, or equals 90. Okay, then what else does it tell me? Because I still need to make a second equation. It says the measure of one angle is 15 degrees more than half the measure of the other. So if I make x be the one that's involving, x is going to equal 15 more than half of y. So that's half of y plus 15 more than half of y. So I have two equations, and one is already solved for a variable. This one is solved for x. So for me, that lends itself best to substitution. I know what x is. Let's put it in x in this equation. So instead of writing x, I write 1/2 y plus 15 plus this other y equals 90. Okay, collect my like terms, and I have 1/2 y plus 1y essentially is 3/2 y plus 15 equals 90. Now I want to subtract 15 from both sides because of course I'm trying to solve for y. And I have 3/2 y equals 75. Now I'm going to either divide through by 3/2 or multiply through by 2/3, however you want to look at that. I'll say times 2/3 because that of course cancels out over here. I say times 2/3 over here, and y gives me 3 goes into 75. 25 times 2 is 50. Okay, again, I got rid of 3/2 by multiplying by the reciprocal. I could also have chosen to multiply through by 2 and then divide through by 3. I know some of you like to do it that way. Or I could have just said divided by 3/2 and 75 divided by 3/2. Any of those three ways accomplishes the same thing. So now, I'm only halfway finished with the problem because I have to take what it says 50 is, go back to this equation, and substitute in. So I have x equals 1/2 times 50 plus 15. Half of 50 is 25 plus 15. And so that makes x equal 40. So now I have to go back and figure out what they asked for so I can make sure I'm giving the answer that was asked for in the word problem, and it says find the measure of each angle. So measure of one angle is 40 degrees and the measure of the other angle is 50 degrees. So now let's make sure they fit the criteria of the word problem. The word problem says they're complementary. Complementary means they add up to 90, and that works. And it also said the measure of one is 15 more than half of the measure of the other. Is this 15 more than half of this? Well, half of this is 50. Excuse me. No, it's not. Half of 50 is 25, and 15 more than 25 is 40. So it both met the criteria of adding up to a complementary angle, or 90 degrees, and it met this is 15 more than half of this. So that means my answer should be correct, and I'm done.